Hi, welcome to SBR Sports Picks. My name is Peter Loshak. Today is Friday, September 8th, Friday afternoon, and this is the Into the Weekend with BetDSI show, the new format. We've done this show for many, many years. Super popular show where we talk with Brent, the headlines manager at DSI Sportsbook, about the notable betting action that he has seen in both college and NFL. This is the exact same show that we've always done. Same awesome information, just a different format, which I think is working better. It's week one in the NFL. Brent from BetDSI, headlines manager at BetDSI Sportsbook. Thanks so much for being back with us and doing this show with us once again for one more football season.
Good to be with you, Peter. We're doing the show, of course, on Friday, so everyone already knows that the big Thursday night NFL opener was they can assume was fantastic for the books. So we're starting off on the right foot at least.
Yeah, so that was a big winner for the books because 30 minutes. You can go on Twitter and you can see this. I tweeted out that I really liked KC at plus 8.5, and I guess not enough people tailed that. But so you were overwhelmed with Pat's action.
It shocks you that not enough people tail you when you release such information, hey Peter. Right. It's like you're doing this for the first time.
There's a few $20 bettors who hang on every word I say, but other than that, not much of an impact do my tweets or opinions have on the market at large. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, but it is always good to when you call something like that. It's good to have your what we'll call it, your social media footprint on stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I kind of jokingly every year tend to say that the next time that we need New England to win the game will be the first time. And obviously, I mean, last night was a case like that as well. We definitely needed Kansas City. It was a real big win for us.
Really? So it wasn't just a small decision. The public was the money was overwhelmingly on the Pats?
And the money line as well. Yeah, I mean, everyone was basically like 8. We were using 8.5, which is, not a big deal. We weren't going to go to 9, stuff like that. Just, thinking about buy points and stuff like that. So we kind of dug in and held our own. And to be honest with you, I mean, New England's been through quite a bit in terms of the injuries they've had. They are a year older, all that kind of stuff, the turnover in personnel. And Kansas City, I mean, they're just a good football team. Yeah,
absolutely. And so I'm also guessing that because of where the line was 8.5, that probably just that result scotched a whole bunch of teasers that you got for this week, right?
Yeah, but I mean, the thing with guys who bet teasers, I guess they almost kind of, if you're going to lose it, you may as well lose it on Thursday and reload for Sunday.
Yeah, right. Okay, well, let me just ask you quickly. It's NFL Week 1 starts now. Of course, as we know, you tend to win in the NFL, but there are definitely some seasons where overall the books lose in the NFL. And how much of a make or break is the NFL season in general? I mean, is it all riding on the NFL, or how bad is it if the books do wind up with a losing season in the NFL overall? And how often does that happen, roughly?
No, honestly, it doesn't happen very often. And the NFL, is it a big percentage of how we do over the course of a year? No, for sure. But it's not even, would you say 50%? I would say even 50% is high. And it's just because you've got so many guys driving so much volume on all of these other sports now. And the thing too is NFL, you're looking at, teams playing, one day of the week, whereas, basketball, they're playing every single day of the week. Baseball playing every single day of the week. And then, don't even get me started on the number of college football games and the college basketball games that get played every year. So no, I mean, we obviously can do really well in NFL football, and we've never really been hurt bad by a full season of NFL football for sure. But again, we're just offering so much, and we've only really touched on like the North American sports. Let's not forget all the things we offer, like tennis, the matchups, the win, the golf, go over there, all the soccer or football as they call it across the world. I mean, we write tons of action to stuff like Italian league, Spanish league, German league, English Premier League. So North American sports wise, obviously NFL football is massive, but in the grand scheme of things, it's just a decent chunk of our business.
Right. I hear you. And also because there's so many people who are interested in it. My guess is that for the most part, most games you're taking roughly balanced action, except for like the Pats and Green Bay games, and those are situations where every week that you're going to take unbalanced action, so you're prepared for it, right?
Right. I would say that just as a general rule, I would say every week there's probably 4 games that get not great action. There's 4 games that get really good divided action, and then there's 4 games where you get really, really, tons of action and big decisions on.
Right. And those are roughly pretty easy to predict which ones are going to be the ones where you're going to have a big decision on, right?
Well, at least in terms of the big action, you can kind of jump to those games right away. I mean, like this week, you look at good teams playing bad teams. Atlanta against the Bears, for example. Okay, you're going to have a big decision there. Pittsburgh against Cleveland, you're going to have a big decision there. Now, you also know that a game like Minnesota and the Saints, the Dallas game, Dallas and Giants, you're going to have tons of action. The Seattle Green Bay game, you're going to have tons of action, and you probably have an easier time of balancing those books.
Okay, well, you just touched on a few of the games that I wanted to ask about specifically. So let's start with the Seattle Green Bay. Not much line movement on this game over the week. My guess is, though, that even as much as Seattle is a team that everyone understands is awesome and loves to bet, it's more so with Green Bay. And my guess is that you have that you're lopsided here in terms of public action, at least on Green Bay.
Yeah, that's exactly right. My wager count is almost 3-1 favoring Green Bay. We're sitting at Green Bay a home favorite -3 right now. My actual dollar volume is closer to 2-1 than 3-1. But I've got good action on this game already. But yeah, nothing to write home about. No huge decision right now. No sharps involved either. But just general public money, about 3-1, like I said, favoring Green Bay, and I expect that kind of to hold that way. I could probably see us going to 3 -115, but I just don't see this game getting off 3. I mean, these are two of the what you might want to call marquee teams in the NFL. So I just don't see this game leaving 3 in juice, probably, yeah, but not 3.5. I just don't see that happening.
Okay, makes sense there. And then let's talk about the big Giants and Dallas game. This one, of course, has been all sorts of drama with Ezekiel Elliott, and Dallas is always a team that just tends to have drama when they're at home. They, when in the Tony Romo era, they tended to be a bad bet as a home favorite. And we have seen a small move in this one. I was seeing 3.5 earlier in the week. Now it's 4. I'm seeing, and I guess that has partially or maybe entirely due to the news that Ezekiel Elliott is supposed to play in this game. The total also took a small move down from 48. I'm guessing huge action on this one. What can you tell us about the betting action for Giants Dallas?
Yeah, huge action is kind of the best way to sum this one up. The line movement. I mean, if you look at like the historical movement of this number, it really hasn't moved much in terms of if you base from what the opening number was. I mean, it was Dallas -4.5, maybe 4.5 dog 15 if you use that, or 4 -15. The line did drop and the thing too was that you kind of knew that the suspension was coming, but you didn't know when it was going to come and if it was going to be appealed, what was going to happen with the appeal. So that's why we kind of hung the number. We did have a lower limit on that game, just knowing that it was going to, we're going to be vulnerable to a little more movement on that. So this line did drop down, obviously, to like the 3.5 dog 15 or whatever with the news come out. Now the news came back out that he is going to play week 1, so we're back basically to 4.5 where we started. Like I said, we probably could be at 4 -115, but I do have slightly more money on the Giants. But I think there was kind of people who thought maybe they were going to be, not stealing something, but getting a little bit of an edge in terms of the fact that Elliott wasn't going to be playing when they grabbed that. Most of the 4.5 that I got did come in like way before the suspension, stuff like that. But now he's playing, we're back to 4.5, and those guys are sitting there holding the ticket. Wager action, I've got about a 3-1 count favoring the Giants as well. But again, most of that action, was earlier when, before the suspension officially came. Well, knowing the suspension was coming down, but before the appeal. So, not a ton of movement if you go back in terms of where it started and where we are now. Just my wager count slightly favoring the Giants and my money slightly favoring them as well.
All right, sounds good. And then the third game, another game you touched on, Pittsburgh and Cleveland. This is an interesting one because, some sharp guys that I know of are kind of high on Pittsburgh in general this year, and looking for them to have a good year, maybe have some value with Super Bowl futures. They're a huge road favorite against Cleveland here. And as we know, last year there were a lot of supposedly sharp guys who seem to be on Cleveland week in and week out. And they much more often than not lost with those bets. If it were up to me, I would take a whole lot of those supposedly sharp guys and just throw them off the sharp list. But I guess they're still going to be on it. But they were betting Cleveland last year and more often than not losing. And maybe they're doing the same thing here. Cleveland getting 8 or 8.5 or 9. The line does appear to have moved up a half point from 8 earlier in the week, favoring Pittsburgh. I gave a pick on this game myself earlier in the week. I gave the under at 47.5. Pittsburgh as a big road favorite here. Did the sharps bite on Cleveland once again, kicking off the year with week 1 here?
Peter, I got to explain to you the whole eggs in an omelet theory, because you have to break eggs to make omelets. I mean, we're 2 weeks into the show, and I think you've basically thrown out every single sharp we have on the list now.
That's right.
Which basically only leaves you. So we're all in a heap load of trouble, I think.
Yeah, that's right. I think I should be the only one on the sharp list, and then a few sort of pseudo sharps who sit around me every week.
Well,
And
I guess this conversation's over then, Peter.
Yeah, no, the conversation's not over. I'm just kidding around, Brent. I'm not sharp.
All right.
We know these guys are sharp as hell. Are they on Cleveland again here?
No, I mean, I hope the Sharps come in on Cleveland because we're going to need them for sure. My actual dollar volume is about 3-1 favoring Pittsburgh. My wager count, basically the same thing, 3-1 favoring Pittsburgh. So I haven't had a sharp circle on Cleveland yet. And, the only thing I'm going to say in terms of Pittsburgh, I mean, if you look at Roethlisberger in particular, his home and road splits, I mean, they're really quite dramatic in terms of how great he is at home and how not as great, we'll call it, he is on the road. Now, is that going to get the win for Cleveland? I'm not saying that, but right now, I'm hoping some sharps come in on Cleveland because the public guys obviously are going to bet Pittsburgh, and in terms of the teaser games, that's going to be one of the biggest teaser games of the week. People, doing the 6.5 point teaser or what have you, driving that line down to 2.5. So basically, they just have to win by 3 or whatever. To get the money for your teaser portion on Pittsburgh. So right now, I don't have any sharp action on either side of this one, just your typical expectation in terms of wager count and money favoring Pittsburgh.
All right, so no sharp action as yet on Cleveland. That's kind of interesting. Again, I like the under in that one, and that is a pick that I gave in my morning shows already earlier this week. All right, so Seattle, Green Bay, Dallas Giants, and Pittsburgh, Cleveland, no notable sharp action. Has there been any notable sharp action for any of the Week 1 NFL games?
Yeah, we have some notable action. First off, I'm going to start with for those of us who follow rotation numbers, the first game on the board, the Jets and Buffalo. The under was sharp there, and again, the stuff with the Buffalo quarterback was question with he had a concussion. Obviously, Sammy Watkins has gone from that offense. I mean, LeSean McCoy obviously is a stud, but the Jets, you figure they're a team that's probably going to struggle, but their only hope to win any game will be a strong defense, and Buffalo's typically had a good defense. So I mean, I don't necessarily put my opinion in whether I agree with the Sharps or don't agree with the Sharps because I just respect them too much to put my opinion in there. But yeah, under 42.5 seemed like a decent play. We're sitting at 40 right now. I'm honestly I'm kind of surprised at a couple of things with this game. And first off would be that I don't have sharp action on the Jets. I just kind of thought I would just be sitting at 8.5. It just seems like just too many points for a team like Buffalo to be laying. Like, I mean, is Buffalo really that good and the Jets are that bad? Now,
I can answer that. Is Buffalo really that good? No. Are the Jets really that bad? They're worse.
Yeah, I see. I don't know. I mean, I think the quarterback is he's capable. I mean, he's an upgrade, I think, over last year, and I think their defense will probably be all right. Their running game's going to be okay. So I don't know. I just don't. I'm not going to be surprised at all if this number drops down and then the Sharps come in and pick on the Jets. But if they don't, I might just do it on my own and say, hey, I don't respect your guys' opinion. I'm gonna trust myself this time around. But the real thing that kind of surprises me is that I have slightly more money on the Jets and I have slightly more wager count on the Jets too. I mean, I just figure, who what kind of public guy is going to back the Jets? Well, maybe it's just simply the fact that they're playing Buffalo this week. Now, my wager count is not even 2-1 favoring the Jets, but it's like about 1.5 times favoring the Jets, which just kind of surprises me because I, week in, week out, we always have trouble getting public bets on the Jets and Cleveland, for example. The only way you ever get safe with those two teams is with sharps, but I don't have sharps on this one, and I've actually got more public bets on the Jets, which again just kind of surprises me.
Yes, surprising, interesting. This is why we do this show. This is why people love this show every week. Brent from BetDSI. What else can you tell us about notable sharp action from NFL Week 1?
I got the Eagles for you, Peter. Eagles, now again, the Eagles at plus 1.5 is where the sharp action came. Now, we're sitting at Philadelphia -1. We're actually minus 115 right now. Our money line is up to like 125 on Philadelphia. So I do have sharp money on the Eagles. I'm just kind of, surprised too in terms of this game. Just Washington, I mean, they seem like one of those teams that the public kind of always has a lot of respect for, at least in the last couple of years. And they do seem to have kind of turned things around. They've got a decent quarterback. Their offense should be good. Their running game should be good. So, but I mean, like I said, I often don't try and, reason why things are the way they are. My wager count on this game is almost dead even. So it is one of those games where it seems like a pick'em game is almost right, but we're minus 115 simply because I've got a lot more money on the Eagles. My wager count my dollar volume is almost 3-1 favoring the Eagles. And that was because of the sharp money we took.
All right, yeah, and we have seen, if regular viewers of this show, year in and year out, we have seen that the sharps care very much about these points at half points, and we have seen multiple examples where that absolutely has come to matter. We've seen so many times when you've told us that the difference between 2 and 2.5, according to the sharps, is a big deal, and lo and behold, the game winds up landing on 2 or whatever, and it winds up mattering. Interesting, Brent. Anything else from Week 1 in the NFL?
Yeah, I've got another road favorite here, which is kind of surprising. They were a road dog when the Sharps bet them, and that was Arizona at Detroit. Arizona +1 is where the Sharps came in. They're all the way up to -2, basically across the board now. So I've got sharp money on Arizona. My dollar volume is almost 2-1 favoring them because of that sharp money. My wager count slightly favors them as well. So the public's kind of behind Arizona as a road favorite. Like I said, the Sharps came in on that one at +1. Arizona's now -2, pretty much across the board. Carolina, I've got a total there for you guys. That was sharp action on the under 48.5. We're sitting at 47.5 right now. It's Carolina, who is at San Francisco this week. No sharp action on the side. Carolina is like -4.5 or 4 -115 out there right now. And I've got, wager count almost 3-1 favoring Carolina, which is no surprise. But I do have sharp action on the under now, like I said, under 48.5. And again, that's one of those, it's one of those games where, it definitely, if I can reason with it, I say, yeah, Carolina should have a really good defense. San Francisco's, it seems like they've had a decent defense. The big problem they've had is they've just been on the field too much with the offenses that haven't been as good. Now, Cam Newton probably has more weapons that he has in a couple of years, but I still, the 48.5 seemed like a real big number. Just from a personal side, I think that this is one of those games that I'm just interested to watch, or maybe the teams that I'm more interested to watch this year, and that's Carolina. You just kind of don't know what to expect from them this year. Last year, 6-10 is just like very un-Cam Newton era of the Carolina you kind of look, and the year before that, they were 15-1. So 2015, you're 15-1. 2016, 6-10. It's like maybe we're going to see the real Panthers this year. Who knows?
Yeah, for sure. All right, Brent, that's 4 sharp sides you've identified here. Anything else from NFL Week 1, or is that it?
I got one more, and that's the first game of the Monday night doubleheader, and that's the Saints at Vikings. And if you've seen the way the lines have gone, you kind of have an idea where this one goes. And the sharp action is on New Orleans. Now, they took New Orleans +4. Now we're sitting at like -3, -115, or there's like some -3, -120 out there right now. So it's gone all the way through the 3.5 down to 3 with juice now. But sharp action was on the Saints +4. Talk about teams that I'm kind of interested to watch. New Orleans is one of those because, you always know that their offense is going to be good, but Breeze is just, I'm not sure how old he is, but he seems to be quite old. Him and Brady, just like, these guys are hanging around still, and Breeze, this might be like kind of his last hurrah kind of to go for things. But I do have, like I said, sharp action on New Orleans right now, and it came at +4. And again, I've got my wager count almost dead even on this one in terms of the actual number of wagers I've taken, but my actual dollar volume is much higher favoring New Orleans because of the sharp bets that we took on them. And again, just, for your listeners and viewers that, we always talk about the actual dollar volume we've taken on games, and we talk about the wager count. Now, wager count is the actual individual number of wagers we've taken on any individual game in terms of like 1 bet, 2 bet, 3 bet, as opposed to dollar volume. Teasers is something we usually touch on, and Atlanta looks like a huge teaser team this week. My wager count is almost like, it's like my wager count is like 5-1 favoring the Falcons. They're like a 6-point favorite right now on the road at Chicago. And this is like the same theme we seem to have, we're going to have this all season long. We're going to need to expect good things from bad teams. And that's the case with Chicago this week. We're going to need them. Pittsburgh is a huge teaser team, and we touched on them already being at Cleveland. New Orleans is getting a lot of support in terms of my teaser action, not on the straight bets. My straight bets, as I mentioned, was pretty much dead even, but I'm getting a lot of support from them. Houston, they're at home to Jacksonville. They seem to be a big teaser side. The line's only like -5 right now, so nothing overwhelming in terms of the wager count or money on Houston right now, but in terms of the teasers, definitely going that way, Peter.
All right, Brent from BetDSI, great Week 1 show, NFL Week 1. Thanks so much. Appreciate it so much. Go to BetDSI and sign up. Great book, very, very reliable. Money is rock solid there. It's been around for forever. Thanks so much, Brent. Talk to you again next week for NFL Week 2.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.